Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's being brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done to educate consumers, grow their practices, and leave a legacy. I'm doing a series of spotlights on remarkable advisors from across the country. And joining me on this segment is Julie Scates. She's the founder of Asti Financial Management. Julie, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much, Mark, for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your work, and specifically, who are the types of clients that you specialize in helping?
Okay, great. We do pretty much broad financial planning and investment management. We are a little bit different than most firms that are out there in that we work much like a doctor or a lawyer. We work on an hourly basis. So we don't do the traditional 1% assets under management. We don't sell any products or earn any commissions. We act as a fiduciary for our clients. So it's a unique model in the investment industry. The people that we work with primarily are individuals, families, and small businesses. We work with what I like to call kind of middle income, so kind of the middle market, not ultra high net worth individuals, but just kind of everyday folks like you and I that need financial planning help.
In that middle kind of group that you mentioned, do you find any really common concerns or challenges that they all face or, really mention to you when they first speak and reach out to you? What are their common concerns?
Yeah, I would say there's kind of two groups of people that we primarily work with. So the first is what I call the accumulators. So those are people, single or couples working, they have small kids and their money is stretched. They're trying to either afford to buy a house or they have a house and they're trying to afford the mortgage. They've got kids, they're trying to do daycare and childcare. They're trying to save for their retirement and college education. So their money is pulled in a lot of different directions and they come to us to say, help, how do we manage this and attack all of our goals appropriately in the right way so that we can kind of reach all of our goals, knowing that we don't have unlimited funds to do everything that we want to. That's one core group. The second core group are people who are what I call pre-retirees. So it starts around age 50 where people are like, retirement's coming up. Let me do a check-in to find out, can I do it? Should I save more? Do I need to do anything to prepare? Like I know I have a few years before retirement. Let me make sure I'm doing all of the right things so that I have a nice future for myself.
Right on. How about this recent pandemic? Has this changed anything in regards to strategy or even just in the minds of your clients? What have you heard out there as a result?
Well, what's been interesting is that we have found, and I have talked to friends in my industry association friends, and meaning other financial planners, all of our businesses have absolutely exploded. So, you remember in the beginning of the pandemic, there were all these jokes around. People were like cleaning their baseboards and cleaning out their closets and whatnot. They got very organized. People got financially organized. So everybody that I know, including us, has just seen a wealth of business coming in as people are trying to get their financial lives organized in kind of the downtime, that they had in the beginning of the pandemic. For us, it's continued for the past 2 years, but we find that people are paying attention to their finances, wanting to take a look at it, make a plan, get everything organized, and really be ready for the future. So we've just seen a huge increase in people being interested in financial planning.
So they finally got that pandemic round to it, so
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
to speak. So when you finally, hear from folks and they know they need to get their financial houses in order, we're in a world of information overload and people Googling everything. I'd imagine that people have a bunch of myths or misconceptions that they keep repeating over and over again. What are some of the biggest myths or misconceptions that you hear in regards to financial planning?
Well, one of the things that I would say specifically related to the pandemic that kind of came up is I don't know if you remember, I do because I do this every day, but it kind of around right as the pandemic happened and we started to do the shutdown, the market went significantly down. And so in terms of myths or misconceptions, it was the classic, my phone was ringing off the hook. People always sell low. So they get panicked. The market went down. The world's falling off a cliff. What are we going to do? So I get a lot of calls from people wanting to sell and move into cash. And as my job, it's the stay calm. We've been through this before. It goes down and it comes back up. 2020 ended with the stock market up about 20%. This year didn't feel so great. We're up about between 20 and 25%. So I think the myth and the misconception is that people panic, They sell at the wrong time. They try to go into cash, then they don't know when to come back in. And so my job has been to try to keep people calm, keep them invested, keep, people investing and growing their savings for the future.
So that's a huge mistake. And that brings up the point I wanted to ask you. When you do start working with people, besides doing stuff like that, are there any other big mistakes you see people making before you start working with them, or any pitfalls that you find people fall into that you can kind of warn people about?
The one thing that I see that's interesting, and it's also been kind of related to the pandemic, mortgage rates have gotten crazy. I mean, 30 plus year historic lows, in the 2 and 3% range. So what I find a lot of people do is they want to rush to pay down the mortgage. So in the Bay Area where I'm located, it's a high cost of living. So most of my middle income folks, people are making kind of in the six figures. They're in a high tax bracket. And under current tax laws, mortgage interest is one of the things that you can still write off. It's not tethered, meaning you don't have that cap of 10,000 on property tax and state and local taxes. You can write off your mortgage interest up to 750,000. So when I have high earners, they want to put all of their money. And the thought is, you're paying off debt that's 2% debt, 2 to 3%, and it's tax efficient because you can write it off on your taxes. Your stock market, your 401ks or your investment accounts, they're earning 10, 15, 20%. So why would you pull money out of something that's earning 10 and 15% to pay down a 2% debt that's tax efficient? That's one of the things I get most often where people want to pay down the debt, they're debt averse. It's like, that's kind of the good debt. Let that go. It's okay. You locked it down at a low rate. Let's put your money someplace else where it's going to grow a lot more rather than paying down your mortgage.
That's a fabulous insight. Julie, what inspired you to get into this field to begin with and help these folks get their financial houses in order? How did you get started?
Well, I had always been in the financial industry. So I was on what we call the buy side. I worked for institutional money managers. I was a money manager. That was kind of my background. And I started looking at financial planning right as the industry was about 15, 20 years ago, was kind of starting to come out of the broker commission model into let's help people just manage their finances and their money. And so I started to get interested, and then I found this unique model that was just starting, that was the hourly model. And I thought for myself, if I went to somebody, why would I pay them 365 days of the year to watch my portfolio when the reality is they may be doing quarterly or semi-annual rebalancing? So I set up my business and this practice to offer fair, honest financial planning to people on this hourly basis. So you pay me when you need help, and when you don't, you're not having to pay me. You just come when you need help. So I set it up on purpose that way so that I could help people not only with their investments, but also, insurance and taxes and college planning and all the other things that people are not equipped to deal with. I mean, the average consumer, you included possibly, we never got any financial training. Nobody knows how to manage money. We weren't taught this in school. Nobody knows. So I wanted to set up this business to provide, my advice and professionalism to help people make these decisions that nobody else has ever, taught them how to do.
That's terrific because I'm sure a lot of people don't really know what to look for in an advisor, and you really spelled it out for them there. So I appreciate that. Before I ask you my last question, Julie, is there anything I didn't think to ask that you think is important to point out to the folks that you help?
I would just say that a lot of people look at the cost of kind of financial planning and don't really think about the benefit. And if somebody can come in and, pay, whatever our fees are from anybody in the industry, but it's going to save you from making some really financially bad decisions in the future and have a secure future for you that you wouldn't have had on your own without professional help. It's like pennies on the dollar for what the benefits you're going to get. So I think a lot of people look at it like, I don't want to pay a financial planner an hourly fee or, to do a project plan because it's, $1 or $2 or $3,000, when that money could be the difference of you retiring securely, your kids going to college, paying off your debt, having an efficient financial situation. So you really have to think about kind of the cost and the benefit.
I appreciate that. Julie, for folks listening that would love to speak with you, how do they find you, connect with you, and learn more?
So the best way to connect with us is to go to our website, which is astifinancial.com. And on there we have, I've been told by clients, it's a great website because we are totally transparent. We have all of the information on what we do. We're very clear on what our fees are. And there's a nice little button on there that you can click to schedule a call directly with me. And we'll do a little introductory call, talk about their situation, and see if it makes sense for us to kind of continue to a meeting and kind of engage together.
Julie, you've been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Perfect. Thank you so much for inviting me. I had a great time, Mark.
That was Julie Scates. She's the founder of Asti Financial Management, and this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done to educate consumers, grow their practices, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.